Hey everybody, what is going on? 225-1292 here, and today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different. As you know, if you've watched my channel, that usually I'm looking for new things to do, to just bring variety to the channel, and today I'm going to be trying something different, and I'm actually going to be doing a couple of reviews, but the reviews I will be doing are going to be on books, novels, and oh, excuse me. First of all, I have to apologize because I know I look scraggly, my mustache is growing in, but actually I just found out that my electric razor is like shot. I charged it all night and it doesn't work now, so later today I'm actually going to have to shave with a straight razor. But I don't feel like doing that for this video, so I look kind of outgrown, but oh well. So, I apologize for that, but the novel that I'm going to be reviewing in this video is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Now, this is the novel that inspired the movie right now that's like the talk of everything. It's a huge movie right now. It's grossing ridiculously large amounts of money, and so there's probably a lot of people out there who know about the movie and all this stuff, but haven't ever read the book. Because let's face it, people of my generation, teenagers, a lot of them do not read novels. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people, but I did sit down and read this novel before I saw the movie, because I knew it was going to be more beneficial to read the book before the movie than the other way around. And indeed, it was. So I'm going to be talking about the novel today a little bit, and I'm not going to be spoiling or giving away any more than I normally do in, say, one of my game reviews. So obviously I have to set the book for you. So there are going to be some things that I give away, but nothing that really wouldn't be given away in a normal plot synopsis, a plot setup. I'm not going to be revealing any big spoilers or anything like that. I'm basically just going to be setting the scene so you know what the book is about. And first of all, I recommend that anybody, before seeing this movie, because this movie's going to be in theaters a while, because it's so popular, I recommend people read the book before going to see the movie. You can knock it out in a day or two. It's not a long book, and if you sit down and put the time in, you can get through it probably in one day, a few hours. So let's set this book up. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins takes place in a fictional new continent or new country, so to speak, called Panem, which basically is located where the United States and Canada is, but this is many years in the future after some apocalyptic event has wiped out the current civilization here. They don't really go into detail as to what it is. All we know is that it happened, and now the new nation that has come forth is this Panem. And the way that Panem is structured is you have a very central, very rich capital, and spread around the capital are 12 districts, which have varying degrees of wealth, but they're all much poorer than the capital, and they all create some good or service that the capital needs. Things like coal, things like electronics, things like fabric. Each district has their own specific good that they manufacture. There actually used to be 13 districts, but what happened many years before the time of the book is that there was a revolution, and all the districts tried to revolt against the capital, and the capital squashed this revolution and basically obliterated District 13. Like, they bombed it off the face of the planet. It doesn't exist anymore. So now there's only 12 districts, and basically in punishment for this rebellion that happened in the time of the book, it was somewhere around 75 years ago. It's now law that each year, every district has to offer one male and one female between the ages of 12 and 18 years of age to be taken into custody by the capital and placed in this arena and basically have a fight to the death, which is televised across the entire nation of Panem. It's really a huge deal. It's almost like the Super Bowl for, for this new nation, but obviously it's very sick and grotesque. Having 24 children fight to the death, and of course with there being one victor that then receives all sorts of praise and more wealth than they could ever hope to imagine. And so that's basically the overview of the book. Now, the book tells the story of a 16-year-old girl named Katniss Everdeen, and she lives in District 12, which is pretty much like the poorest district of them all. I mean, this place is really the slums, it's messed up, and they are the coal-producing district. And Katniss lives with her mother and her little sister Prim, and her father actually died in a coal mining accident that happened years ago. And when that happened, her mother basically shut down and tuned out the world and, wasn't really there. And so Katniss has kind of taken on the role of protecting the family, especially her little sister, and oftentimes she breaks the rules and goes outside the district to hunt, to come back and sell her animals that she's hunted to the people around the town and get money. And she also has to take what they call tezzeret, which is basically, I believe it's a year's supply of like wheat and grain and that type of thing. But when you take it, you have to enter your name more times into the drawing for the Hunger Games, which they call the reaping. And it talks a little bit about her life, her everyday life. You meet some of the characters that she is friendly with. And, of course, as you would expect, we transition to a time where it's now the Hunger Games, and one way or the other, Katniss is selected as the female tribute from District 12. And from there, it basically takes Katniss on this journey, or takes you as the reader through Katniss on this journey to the Capitol, through all of the pageantry, all of the things that are gone through in order to take place in the games. You meet a very wide range of characters such as Abernathy Haymitch, or Haymitch Abernathy. I forget which is his first name. They always call him Haymitch, so I don't really know if that's his first or last name. But he is a previous victor, the only previous victor from District 12 of the Hunger Games, and he serves as a mentor to Katniss and Peeta, who is the male tribute. You meet him, you meet her stylists, you meet Cinna, who is Katniss's main stylist. So you meet a wide array of characters, and like I said, it takes her through all of the events. It takes her through, the fact that she has to, basically, the tributes need the rich people to like them and to think that they have a chance in the games and basically become their sponsors. And when you have sponsors, the sponsors will send you certain gifts during the games that will really help you, like medicine if you get cut, or food, or things like that. So there's a whole long process of trying to get sponsors. They have to parade into this arena wearing different costumes to try and impress the rich people. They have to give interviews. They've got to have individual training or individual sessions with the gamekeepers to show off their skills. They have, like, I believe 15 minutes or so to show off what they can do in private sessions, and based on that they get scores out of 12 on how, their potential of winning the games, and all of this is directed towards getting sponsors. So there's a very long pageant process that goes through, and then of course you get to the actual games, the Hunger Games event, and you see firsthand the horror of this event. And basically you go through the event as Katniss, and her struggle to try to win these games, and obviously there's a conclusion which I won't obviously give away. So the book is, first of all, in my opinion, the book is exceptionally good. I thought it was very creative, very inventive. Now, keep in mind that this is not necessarily a story or a plot line that has never been done before, even though I haven't read a book necessarily that's like that, but the idea is probably not 100% original, especially if you think back to the Colosseum in Rome with the gladiators. I mean, that stuff actually used to really happen in real life, where people would pay to watch other people fight to the death. But the way that Suzanne Collins tells it to you, and the fact that these are children that we're talking about, really brings a whole new take on the event. And it really, obviously there's going to be a lot of social, political commentary in the book about poverty, about love. There's a big love element in this book, so any of the female viewers, I'm sure will appreciate that there's a big love aspect woven in here. Commentary on you know, just what children can do, the will of a child if they're left in charge of their family, basically. And this stuff really happens in the real world, where either both parents die or one parent is never there, and these teenagers have to take over and be the head of the household, and it just speaks to the bravery and the courage that you can show for your loved ones, even facing imminent death. And it obviously speaks of you know, tyranny and the abuse of power by the government. So there's a lot of commentaries here in the book for sure. But you know, overall, I think that it's not, none of it is necessarily, in my opinion, thrown in your face to where it's like, hey, listen, political statement, you know, I'm on this end of the spectrum and you should be too. It's never really like that. It's kind of, the book is kind of presented from an objective point of view, and then they kind of let you make your own decisions on what is right, what is wrong. I mean, there's certain things about the book that obviously are wrong, such as making children fight to the death in a publicly televised sporting event is obviously wrong. But there's a lot of little things woven through here that it's kind of up to you as to, is this okay? You know, a lot of moral ambiguity. Is this all right? You know, if you were put in this position, how could you sit there and just cold-blooded murder these other children even when it's not their fault? So a lot of that going on. One thing to note, that the book is written in first person, so it's told from the perspective of Katniss. And I really like that because it's really, it helps to put you in her position and to imagine yourself as her, you know, put in this situation not only with the games but with her life, put in this position of living in extreme poverty, having to, you know, her father dying and her having to become the head of the household since her mother is just checked out, and it really hits you. Now, even though this book is technically young adult, it's one of those books that any age group can read and should read. But certainly, I feel like the book is going to have a much bigger impact on you if you are a young adult, in your teens, early 20s, something like that. I think it's going to have a bigger impact on you because, I mean, I'm almost 20, so I'm a little bit over, you know, the 12 to 18 range of the tributes in the games, and certainly am older than Katniss, who's 16 in the book, but I'm not that much older that I can't put myself in this position, and it's really, it just makes you question while you're reading this book. You think, wow, what if, you know, what if that were me? What if, I mean, I'm around that age, or at least I was 2 years ago. What if I got my name pulled and I had to go in with 23 other people and we all had to fight to the death without really any training or anything like that? And you just really, it hits you, the horrifying situation of what's going on. So I would definitely recommend, you know, now the book, it says young adult. Now, I wouldn't let necessarily a 12-year-old read this book, because there's a lot of things that I think 12-year-olds shouldn't be reading. in this book. A lot of death, a lot of blood, obviously, and obviously the death of children. So you kind of have to, I mean, obviously whenever you're dealing with checking my time, obviously whenever you're dealing with the death of children or the slaughter of children, there's going to be lines there that some people just don't want to cross, and it's understandable. I mean, even in games that I play all the time, even in a free roam game where you can run around and shoot everything, kill everything, you can't ever kill the kids, because I mean there's just something that's, you don't kill children. So, you know, you definitely have to be in the state of mind to read this book. And you can easily kind of lose the fact that these are kids, obviously because they're all fighting to the death, but you know, because it just doesn't seem possible that children could do this, but in reality it is. So I would say around 15 years old is probably the young cutoff date for me on reading this book. I mean, I know every parent is different, and I can't parent for anybody, but if it were me and my kids, I probably wouldn't let them read this book till they were like 15 years old or something like that, to be able to handle some of the things in the book. But if you can accept the fact that it's fiction and understand that there's not really children fighting to the death, you know, and you can kind of just get over that, it's an excellent book. And the commentaries are great, like I said, even though they're not thrown in your face. The character of Katniss Everdeen is exceptionally written and developed, in my opinion. And I think anybody who wants to go see the movie, which I highly recommend you do that as well. I really like the movie. But I think you should read the book first, because just like every movie, there's things in the movie that aren't quite like they are in the book, and some things in the movie that they leave out from the book. Of course, the movie's almost 2.5 hours as it is, so they couldn't put everything. And really, for a film adaptation of a book, they did actually a really good job, in my opinion, of keeping everything pretty much the same. But still read the book first. You really enjoy it. Even if you don't read this book. I barely ever read, but I read this book and I really loved it. So, excuse me again. So anyway, I'm not going to give the book like a score, because like I said, I'm not an avid reader, so there's no way I can, you know, accurately give a book a rating. I just know the book is really good, and I recommend you read it. So, I'm Voodoo51292. I hope that you like this kind of departure from the normal things, and I'm going to be doing one more book review before the day is finished, so be sure to check that one out as well if you like. So thanks, and I'll see you soon.